Before he died, Andre the Giant finally opened up about the wrestlers he disliked the most over the years. Though he was often seen as a kind and larger-than-life figure, both in and out of the wrestling ring, Andre had strong grudges and feelings he kept hidden for a long time. When he eventually spoke about them, people were shocked. His reasons weren't always what fans expected. Sometimes it was personal, sometimes it was about respect, and sometimes it was just Andre being Andre. One of the people he truly disliked was Randy Macho Man Savage. The reason wasn't about wrestling victories or fame. It was about baby oil. Savage always covered himself in oil before his matches, and it annoyed Andre more than anything else. For someone as big as Andre, just cleaning himself after a match was already a challenge. When Savage's baby oil would get all over him during matches, it made that job even harder. Andre hated it, and even though Savage knew this, he wouldn't stop. His brother once said that Savage believed changing his routine for Andre would mean doing it for everyone. That didn't sit well with Andre. He didn't need to say much. If he didn't like you, he'd show it in the ring by making the matches rougher and more painful. That's exactly what happened with Savage. Andre also had issues with Hulk Hogan. He didn't hate him with the same intensity, but there was tension. Andre came from a time when wrestling was treated like a serious tradition. Hogan, with his flashy style and loud personality, represented a new kind of wrestling that Andre didn't respect at first. He thought Hogan was too full of himself and hadn't earned his place. In their early matches, Andre didn't hold back. He made Hogan feel every move. Hogan later admitted he was scared of Andre, even years later when he had become a superstar. At WrestleMania 3, Hogan wrote down the match script because he was so nervous. If Andre had known, Hogan believed he would have been crushed in the ring. But Andre went along with it, not because he suddenly liked Hogan, but because he understood the importance of the moment. It was Andre's way of passing the torch, even if the respect between them was complicated. Then there was Big John Studd. Studd didn't just compete with Andre, he tried to replace him. He would tell people he was going to be the new giant and even took growth hormones to get bigger. For Andre, this wasn't just annoying, it was insulting. In one match, Studd stepped over the top rope, which was something Andre was known for. He had told Studd not to do it, but Studd ignored him. That night, Andre lost it and beat Studd so badly that he walked out and didn't come back. The message was clear: Andre wouldn't tolerate someone disrespecting his legacy. Another wrestler Andre clashed with was Kamala. Their conflict began in 1982 when Kamala was still new to wrestling. In one of their early matches, something went wrong, and Andre called Kamala a disrespectful name in the ring. Kamala didn't take it lightly and actually fought back during the match. The next night, Kamala showed up with a gun, just in case things got out of hand again. When he confronted Andre, the giant backed down, apologized, and smiled to defuse the situation. After that, Andre never messed with Kamala again, though the tension between them never completely disappeared. Kamala later said Andre was rude to fans and wrestlers alike and wasn't the friendly giant people thought he was. Andre also had serious issues with the Ultimate Warrior. To Andre, the Warrior symbolized everything wrong with wrestling at that time: loud, fast, reckless, and disrespectful. Andre's body was in bad shape by then, but he still worked hard to perform. The Warrior, on the other hand, didn't care about pacing or safety. He would charge around the ring, ignoring Andre's attempts to control the match. After one too many careless hits, Andre had enough and knocked him down with one hit to teach him a lesson. Andre hated doing quick matches, but he preferred them over dealing with the chaos that came with the Ultimate Warrior. Even though the Warrior didn't seem to hate Andre back, Andre clearly didn't enjoy working with him. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was another case. Andre didn't hate him like he did others, but their relationship was rough in the beginning. Duggan started out as a loud and unpredictable rookie, and Andre didn't have time for wrestlers who didn't know what they were doing. But over time, Duggan improved and earned Andre's respect, at least a little. They had some memorable moments, including a time when Andre dropped his full weight on Duggan during a match. Duggan also became the only person to knock Andre out in the ring with a swing of his 2x4, after Andre accidentally busted his lip open. Despite all of that, Duggan never hated Andre. In fact, he respected him deeply, even if Andre didn't always show the same in return. Through these stories, it becomes clear that Andre the Giant had a strong sense of pride and a deep love for wrestling. But if he felt disrespected or challenged, he didn't hold back. Whether it was because of baby oil, arrogance, or someone trying to take his place, Andre made sure people knew exactly where they stood with him. Duggan was never scared of Andre the Giant. In fact, he respected him a lot. The scar under his mustache reminded him of that respect. He used to play cards with Andre and travel with him. He got to know the real man behind the legend, a man who felt lonely, who couldn't fit in airplane seats, and couldn't go anywhere without being stared at. Andre didn't make friends easily, but Duggan was one of the few who got close to him. But things were very different when it came to Bam Bam Bigelow. Andre really didn't like him. Andre believed he was the true superstar of wrestling, the one who stood out even in a room full of big egos. So, when a young and confident Bigelow joined the WWF in the late 1980s and acted like he was already a huge deal, it didn't sit well with Andre. Andre had his own way of teaching people a lesson when they got too full of themselves, and it wasn't through words. One night at Madison Square Garden, Bigelow went into the ring thinking it would be a normal match. But Andre had other plans. Bret Hart, who was there, said Andre nearly crushed Bigelow. It wasn't just a match, it was a message. Andre beat him badly on purpose, and everyone watching understood what was happening. After that, Bigelow's confidence completely dropped. Whatever dreams he had about becoming a star, Andre crushed them along with Bigelow's pride. Bigelow didn't stay quiet about it either. Years later in interviews, he called Andre a big, mean, smelly giant who, according to him, tried to kill him in the ring. He said he was stomped on, choked, and embarrassed in front of everyone. He also talked about the time Bad News Allen got sat on by Andre after a long day of drinking tequila and Clamato. According to Bigelow, it was disgusting and unforgettable. Even though he laughed while telling the story, you could tell he was still bitter. Unlike other wrestlers who looked up to Andre, Bigelow felt like Andre picked on him. But for Andre, Bigelow was just another loud rookie who needed to learn respect. He didn't spend time thinking about Bigelow afterward. To Andre, Bigelow didn't matter much. But to Bigelow, Andre was the terrifying giant who taught him a hard lesson he never forgot. By the time Bigelow came back to WWF in the 1990s, more mature and professional, Andre had already passed away. Still, that memory stayed with Bigelow, a lesson burned into his wrestling career. On another day, during a long bus ride with several famous wrestlers, Andre said something he shouldn't have. He used a racial slur, the N-word. Maybe he didn't mean it personally, but someone on the bus took it seriously. That man was Bad News Brown, real name Alan Coage. He was known for his strength and discipline, and he didn't care how famous Andre was. Respect had to go both ways. When he heard the slur, he stood up and told Andre to watch his mouth. At first, Andre didn't say anything, but later he told Brown to go away in a harsh way. That made things worse. Brown told the driver to stop the bus, he wanted to fight right there. Andre, for all his power, stayed seated. Maybe he realized he had crossed a line. Other wrestlers, like Stan Hansen, tried to calm things down. Hulk Hogan later said he thought Brown might pull a gun. No one had ever talked to Andre like that before. The next morning, Bad News waited near the elevator for Andre. When Andre got off, Brown stood there, calm but serious. He asked Andre to come outside and talk. Andre didn't fight, he listened. Brown told him straight, "I never insult your people, so don't insult mine." Andre, the man who was never shaken by anyone, apologized. They didn't become friends, and the tension between them never really disappeared, but there was mutual respect from that day on. Before Andre died in 1993, they had one last talk and made peace. Then there was the Iron Sheik. Andre couldn't stand him. It wasn't just dislike, it was deep anger. If you were around back then, you didn't have to ask, you could feel the tension whenever Sheik and Andre were in the same room. Sheik was loud, arrogant, and always getting into trouble. Even years after he stopped wrestling, his wild social media posts, written by someone else, made him a joke online. But in Andre's world, it wasn't funny. Hulk Hogan once said that Andre almost killed Sheik during a match. Bobby the Brain Heenan said Andre really hated how Sheik treated the less famous wrestlers. These were the men who wrestled for little money just because they loved it. Sheik treated them like garbage. Andre saw them as hard-working and deserving of respect. That made Andre furious. Andre had a strong personal code. He believed in respect, humility, and honor. Sheik broke all three. People also said Sheik's loud behavior and habits outside the ring didn't help his case. Andre didn't explain himself much. If he didn't like you, you'd know it. Tom Pritchard, who knew them both, once said Andre didn't see people in shades of grey. He either liked you or hated you. And he hated the Sheik. If Andre didn't like you, he'd make it known. He might lie on top of you a little too long during a match or even humiliate you by blowing his awful breath in your face, or worse. Jake the Snake Roberts had his own strange relationship with Andre. Jake didn't hate Andre, he actually looked up to him, but Andre didn't trust Jake at first. Andre didn't trust people easily. Because of his size, he was always treated like a spectacle. But in the ring, respect mattered to him, and he didn't give it easily. When Jake first wrestled Andre, it was a disaster. Andre didn't let him do anything. He made Jake look like a weak bug being crushed. The crowd didn't know what to think. Jake was angry not just at the match but at the lack of respect. Most wrestlers would have stayed quiet, but Jake marched right into Andre's locker room and called him out. Andre didn't yell back. He just nodded. That's what he had been waiting for, to see if Jake had courage. From then on, things changed. That didn't mean the pain stopped. Andre once stood on Jake's hair and pulled his arms so hard Jake thought his scalp would rip off. Another time, he crushed Jake during a match like a building collapsing. Jake thought his ribs were broken. Then, as Jake lay there, struggling to breathe, Andre laughed and let out a giant fart that lasted 40 seconds. Jake said it felt like an earthquake. Even after all that, Jake loved Andre, because he understood who Andre really was, a man full of strength, pain, and mystery. Andre wasn't just a giant in size. He was a giant in presence, a man who could drink 48 beers on a short road trip and never stop to pee. He once chased college kids for throwing beer cans at him and flipped their car with them still inside. Jake saw all of this and respected him even more. Once Andre knew that Jake respected him, he returned that respect. But when Andre talked about the wrestlers he disliked the most, Jake's name still wasn't far from the top of that list. And when Andre passed away, the memories stayed. For some, being remembered by Andre was an honor. But for others, it came with a quiet fear, because when the giant remembered you, it was usually for a reason. Let us know which name on the list surprised you the most. Did you expect someone else to be there? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and check out more videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.